I was in financial ruin for a long time, and I didn't know the 3 things I'm about to share with you in this video. Watch this so I can help you avoid the same mistakes I made. Hey guys, what's up? Yuri here from Healthpreneur. We help health professionals and coaches grow their businesses online. But listen, this YouTube channel is all about helping you with your marketing, mindset, and money. And today we're talking about money management skills, and specifically 3 things wealthy people do differently than everyone else. Really quickly, listen, I understand that life isn't all about money, but life without money really sucks. And I've been on that side of the spectrum, and I've also been on the other side of the spectrum in terms of where I am currently and in terms of where I want to continue growing with my business and my life. And I hope you're here because you want to do the same. You understand that obviously living in the modern world requires money, and there are certain things you can do that are going to help you move in the right direction versus other things that are going to move you in the wrong direction. The unfortunate part is that the education system, by no surprise, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to you, is an absolute joke when it comes to just education in general, but also teaching us nothing about finances, personal wealth, none of that stuff. So it's no surprise that billions of people on this planet are in financial ruin because they just don't understand this stuff, very much like they don't understand their health, which is why so many people have ill health. So one of my objectives with this channel is to help educate you and really give you mindset shifts to help you be better attracting money, managing money, and obviously helping that money grow independent of your effort. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 skills. So let's dive right into them without wasting any more time. So the first most important skill, there's 3 skills, right? I don't know which one's the most important. They're all very important. The first money management skill that we all have to get very good at is making more money. Right? It's really simple. Like, you have to bring more inflow in order for you to have money to do stuff with. All right, so how do we do that? Well, there's 3 steps really. The first step is you have to find the problem you can solve. Now, I'm speaking to entrepreneurs here, but if you happen not to be an entrepreneur and if you're like an employee in a company, you still have to take the same mindset. You have to find problems that you can solve. Because I'm telling you, as an employer, if one of my team members comes to me and says, hey, we have this problem, I think this is a solution to it, that is a very high value addition to my life. Someone who creates problems in my life is not high value. So if you want to make more money, you have to become a person of higher value. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to look at solving problems in the marketplace that you serve. So you're looking at, where are my clients, or where's my marketplace struggling? What problems are they not being able to solve on their own? What other solutions are out there that are not adequate in solving those problems? The bigger the problem you solve, the more money you'll make. It's really simple. So the second thing you do once you've identified the problem you can solve, like not just, you have to obviously be able to solve it, right? The second thing is charge a premium price for that solution. You're either the cheapest in the market or you're the most expensive. Don't play in the middle, right? The middle is what I call the dead zone. And why would you play the cheapest? Why would you bother competing with Walmarts and the Costco's of the world? It's not even worth it. As a realtor, as an example, I've never understood this. Why would you focus your time selling $300,000 condos when you could sell homes for $3 million? It's exactly the same amount of effort. And in fact, a lot of those higher end purchases, although their sales cycle might be a little bit longer, in terms of your effort as a realtor, takes roughly the same amount of time, maybe less. And buyers of premium priced things, whether they're coaching programs, products, or houses, tend to be a little bit easier to work with. Again, that's obviously a bit of a generalization, but what I'm trying to get at here is, why would you choose to sell stuff on the cheap? Operate in the world with a few more zeros. It's the same amount of energy, it's the same amount of work, and if you can put yourself in a premium priced type of bracket, then you have way more leverage than if you didn't. So let's just use a realtor as an example again. Let's say you make 5% commission. Again, that's being generous. 5% commission on the sale. So 5% of 300,000 is $15,000, right? So you would make $15,000 commission for roughly whatever amount of work that went into that. On a $3 million home, that's $150,000 commission. You made 10 times as much money for roughly the same amount of your time invested. That's a massive amount of leverage. In a business, if you charge $100 for your thing, well, what if you put another 0 behind it? Now, I'm not talking about selling a pen. I'm talking about actually delivering an amazing solution, like a coaching type of offer for clients. So, we work with a lot of health professionals who undercharge severely. And one of the first things that we have them do is challenge them and encourage them to raise their prices. I'm not saying they come in at $100, but let's just even say that they started at $100 an hour, and that's not sustainable. So let's say, cool, let's turn that $100 into $1,000. Not $1,000 per hour, but $1,000 for an outcome. Use 10 times your price, right? Now, obviously, it's not necessarily apples to apples here, but the whole idea here is that if you charge more, that difference in price goes right to your bottom line. And that's gonna be very, very important because number one, obviously, it's beneficial for the customer. You're gonna be able to produce a better experience, result for them. And from a monetary perspective, we'll talk about this in the second piece, is it moves more of that margin into your bottom line, i.e. bank account, i.e. pocket as profit. And that is very, very important from a money generation and management perspective. So charge a premium price after you've picked a problem to solve. And the third step in this first piece of making more money is you have to be better at communicating. Essentially what I'm talking about here is you have to become better at influencing, persuading, and selling people, right? Everything you do in life is gonna require you selling yourself, you selling an idea, you selling a product, or you selling a service. Like, please give me an example of a time in life where that's not gonna happen. And if you do not like selling, it's simply because you don't understand it. So learn how to be better at sales, right? If I have to get my kids to do something, I'm selling them on why they need to do it. If they're not doing it, they're gonna sell me on why they don't think they need to do it, right? So we're all, like, a sale is always made. Either you're buying someone else's story about why they can't do it, or they're buying your solution. If you do not get better at sales, you will always struggle financially. I can guarantee this, because I was in that boat for many years as a underpaid, overworked personal trainer. I had a really rough relationship with money. I didn't want to bother people by getting them to pay me, which is kind of ridiculous when I think about this now. But we all go through this journey when it comes to selling and asking for money and so forth. You have to go through this, because if you don't, you will always be at the bottom of the totem pole. Okay, so if you want to make more money, those are the first three things. Pick a problem, charge a premium price, and get really good at communicating, i.e. selling. Second skill is money management, which is essentially going to be keeping and managing the money. So we talked about how increasing your prices gives you more margin, right? So if you went from a $1,000 offer to a $3,000, you now have $2,000 more margin, and that goes directly to your bottom line, assuming there's no other cost of goods sold or cost of services in that process. Okay, so a lot of people either can't make a lot of money, or they can make money, but they just don't manage it and keep it well. And I was in this place when I was growing up. The first jobs I had, I was selling appliances. Then I got into bartending. That's pretty much where it started before I got into, more of the health stuff later on. And I have nothing to show for that money, right? I mean, I remember selling appliances at the age of 17 to families, and I was making like $700 commission in a day from Future Shop, which is now Best Buy. And at the time I was like, this is amazing. Unfortunately, I have nothing to show for that money. I don't even know where it went. I spent it all. I blew it all. So it's one thing to make money, but it's actually more important to keep the money you make. So the second skill we have to learn how to develop here is really managing and keeping money. Okay, so there's 3 steps to doing so. Step number 1 is really committing to becoming your own money manager. I don't get this, to be honest. I do not understand why someone would work so hard to earn whatever they earn and then just give that money to a money manager and expect that person to take care of it for them. I don't understand that. That would be like having kids and then giving those kids to a babysitter or a nanny and hoping the nanny does a good job with the kids. It's ass backwards in my mind. Your health and your wealth are 2 of the most important things in your life. You cannot outsource those. You have to take ownership of those. So if you don't have the money you want, you have to look in the mirror and say, dude, it's your fault. It was my fault that I had nothing to show for many, many years of making money. And again, I was $55,000 in debt, living on poverty line income. And then I started eventually making money, but I still didn't understand this stuff. It took me a while to really understand, hey, dude, you have to learn this stuff. You don't know how to read a P&L statement and you're the owner of a business. That's a major problem. You don't have to become an accountant, but you have to be able to have a conversation with one and understand the mechanics numerically of your business. So that's where it starts. Step number 1 is you have to commit to becoming your own money manager. It's really a mindset that you just have to commit to. The second step, along with that, is improving your financial literacy. If you don't know, if you're the owner of your business and you don't know how to read a P&L statement, I get you. I was there, right? It looks daunting. You're like, I don't understand this stuff. Balance sheets, you have to learn this stuff. I am very serious about this. If you don't understand anything about your health, Well, guess what? You're not gonna be too healthy. If you do not understand anything about your wealth and finances, guess what? You're not gonna be very wealthy. The more you learn this stuff, the more you start to see how relatively simple it is. Like, you don't have to memorize the tax code and all that kind of stuff. But everything you learn about money, about finances, about how your business operates and cash flow and all the different things, and if you can learn more about the accounting principles that your accountant or tax expert would know about, not to their expertise or their level, or at least you can hold an intelligent conversation with them, you will benefit from that. Financial illiteracy is a very, very big problem in the Western world and across the globe. And it's no wonder that so many people struggle financially as a result of that. So what does that look like? Well, first and foremost, congratulations on being here and watching this video, because I think that's one of the first steps, is learning, reading books, watching videos, listening to podcasts, listening to financial experts in whatever way, shape, or form that looks like for you, okay? Maybe it's reading stuff from Warren Buffett, maybe it's listening to whatever it is you want to listen to that jives with how you want to look at money and your wealth. But again, you have to learn the stuff, okay? Do not expect to simply earn wealth. Wealth is learned. It is not earned. And the more you learn about it, the easier it's gonna be for you to earn it. If I can do this, you can too. The third step here is to build a money management system that does not require your discipline. When we make money, as business owners at least, there's a tendency for money to come in, and then we have expenses and the money goes out. And then we're like, oh, there's not a lot left over. That's how I ran my business, not quite a decade, but a very, very long time. My first business. It was very, very frustrating because I was putting in so much work and we had this great team and we're doing at one point millions of dollars. And I'm thinking to myself, where's the profit here? How am I not getting more out of this business relative to the effort that I'm putting in? And if you're a health practitioner or coach or service provider, someone who just loves the work and you're putting in a lot of time and effort and you're just not getting a lot of juice out of the squeeze, this is very important. So one of the things that, again, this ties back into financial literacy. As I started learning about this stuff, I started to understand, well, wealthy individuals pay themselves first. What if I did that? And there's a couple really impactful books or mentors along the way. Mike Michalowicz with Profit First, T. Harv Eker with The Millionaire Mind. They were, two pivotal examples for me of really how to approach this topic. And so essentially, at a very simple level, a money management system is when money comes in, you know exactly and ideally automatically how that money is going to be allocated. So let's just use an example here. I'll just give you my process. On a weekly basis, I call it Financial Fridays. Whatever money comes in during that week is moved on a Friday. Now, this requires my active moving of money. Ideally, this would be done automatically, and if you can figure that out how to do so, awesome. I'm sure there's ways you can set this up automatically with your bank. But anyways, in my situation, money comes in, business account. I look at the money, I'm like, cool. Then I know exactly how that money is going to be allocated. Right off the top, 10% is profit. For me, the business owner. So if you're the business owner, you need to pay yourself 10% minimum off the top of revenue, because that is your reward for taking on the risk of running the business, okay? Because the last thing you want to do is be in business for years and have nothing to show for it. I made that mistake for way too long. I'm never doing that again. So right off the top, let's call that $100 right into profit. Then you might have allocation for operating expenses. You might have allocation for your own salary. Just to clarify, profit and your salary are different, okay? So you're taking 10% off the top minimum for profit. Like, now obviously your business has to be profitable, otherwise they'll be taxable income, but whatever. So 10% goes into profit for you, the business owner. Your salary is separate. So that's a separate account. Allocate a certain amount for operating expenses. You can allocate a certain amount for education, whatever it is you want, whatever categories you want within your corporate setup, or if you're taking it out personally, you can do the same idea. Obviously the money would be taxed at that point, but whatever. So the key here is that you know when money comes in, no matter what. And here's the thing, no matter what, is like, it doesn't matter if you had a good week, a bad week, a slow week, or a big week, you have to get in the habit of allocating this money right away. Because what will happen is you might have a good week and you've got a surplus. And you're like, cool, 10% here, 20% there, 40% there, all is good. And then the next week things slow down and you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna pay myself this week. Do not fall into that trap. And this is why it's important, if you can, automate this. Because if you have to come up with payments, like if you had an insurance premium that you had to pay, which was $2,000 a month for life insurance as an example, you would find a way to pay that. Like you would find a way to pay your car payments, your mortgage. You have to set up the same type of system. And what that does is it forces you to literally live poor. And I think this is actually a really beneficial mindset to have. It's not to think like you're poor, but it's to live as if you are. Now, listen, I say that with kind of like, tongue in cheek. I have 2 McLarens. I have an investment property in Mexico. I live in a great house and where we live. I don't live poor, but I take the minimum I need to cover my expenses. I don't take any more because I don't need to pay any extra personal income tax beyond that. So what I do is I force all of this forced allocation elsewhere, right? So into these different categories. And I know that if there's a little bit of a deficit, I'm like, shit, we gotta make this up, because if we don't, then I'm gonna, I don't wanna start compromising this allocation setup. So the nice thing is that you create your own forced type of savings, your own forced payment setup, as opposed to saying,
you know what, I'm not gonna pay myself this week because this week was a rough week. I'll pay myself next week.
And that's a very, very bad, dangerous little spiral to get into, because it's very easy to be like, you know what? All right, I'll take care of that in a couple months when things are better. Worst case scenario, if you can't pay yourself 10%, pay yourself 1%. But never, ever, ever get out of the habit of stopping those payments to those different allocated, buckets or accounts or, categories. It's probably the most impactful thing I've done in terms of managing cash flow over the years and ensuring that if we make millions of dollars, I have something to show for it, and much more than I would have otherwise, okay? So the last thing we want to, as business owners, we do not want to get into the world of we make money, we pay out expenses, and then they're like, oh shit, there's a little bit left over. No. In this case, we make money, we take off the top for us, we allocate accordingly, and we find a way to make enough money so that no matter what, the money is able to fulfill those allocated categories easily. Cool? Got that? All right, so that's the second skill, is managing. And again, there's obviously nuances to all this stuff. Managing and keeping your money. Now, third skill is employing your money. So you can hire people to work for you. You can also hire your money to work for you. So in skill number 1, we're building a skill, which is selling, to make money. Now, so there we have worked to make the money. In this third skill, we want to employ our money to work for you, to work for us. So you might work a couple hours a day, you make some money, but you want your money to work for you 24/7, 365 into the, infinity, whatever it's called. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, number 1, I think this is an area, again, going back to the whole money manager idea, where it's like you have this pile of money, you're like, I don't know what to do with this. I'll just give it to some fund manager and I'll get raped with some crazy management expense ratio and have nothing to show for it. Do not play that game. I would strongly discourage you from doing so. I've never done it. I've spoken with many of them and I would never give them my money, because I'm like, why would you manage your money better than I can, right? If you know stuff, I'm gonna learn, right? It's not to say that I have to become a financial advisor, but I need to become my own financial manager, just like you do. So the first step here is, I think just very wise advice, is only invest in things you understand. You see, there are no risky investments, there are only risky investors. And I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people, friends, family, colleagues, where it's like, yeah, a buddy of mine told me about this new stock, so I threw in a couple grand. I'm like, are you crazy? You don't even understand what this company is. You don't understand anything about it. You don't even understand the stock market. Why would you do that? So only invest in things that you understand. And that might be one thing. Now, there's also this whole notion of diversification. My good friend Garrett Gunderson calls it diversification, which I think is very clever. Only invest in things you understand. Just because you think you have to diversify doesn't mean you have to diversify, right? If you don't understand real estate and buying apartment buildings and doing rental income and all that kind of stuff, why are you gonna play that game? Now, if you wanna learn it, 100%, learn it, master it, do it for sure. But if you have zero interest or whatever, don't even bother. A couple years ago, I was very, very against crypto for whatever reason. I'm like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't even want to learn about it. And this is way back in the day when crypto, Bitcoin specifically, was selling for $400. I was at a mastermind, everyone's talking about it. I'm like, guys, I don't even want to talk about this. I'm gonna go to the beach. And I was really dumb. I was closed-minded to the opportunity that was at hand. And in the past 2 years, I said, you know what? Crypto is gonna be the future. I don't care what people say. It's like, how is it not gonna be the future when you got companies like BlackRock, which is the biggest investment firm on the planet, partnering with some of the biggest crypto exchanges on the planet. I mean, it's just like, if you can't see that this wave is coming, just don't be delusional, okay? So I didn't want to be that guy that was like, hey man, remember that crypto thing? And I'm like this old grandfather at this time, and I'm bitter because I missed out and I didn't understand it. I didn't want to be that guy. So I made a commitment to say, listen, I'm gonna learn everything I possibly can about crypto. And I'm only gonna invest in things that I understand. And so crypto for me has actually been a really significant part of my investment thesis, my investment portfolio, because number 1, I understand it. At least in terms of the investment investments that I've invested in, right? So I don't invest in shit coins. I don't invest in 1,000 different things trying to make a quick buck. I'm investing in things that I understand, okay? So I'll come back, I'll tie that in just a second. The second thing is you have to figure out your wealth allocation. So I think part of this comes into your age, part of this comes into your personality type, like what type of person are you? Are you risk averse? Are you risk tolerant, etc.? I'm a very risk tolerant person. I play more to win than not to lose. So using soccer as an analogy, I played professional soccer. I never understood, and it drove me crazy when I was on teams where we would play to tie. I'm like, that, play to win. That's how I've lived my life, and it's also how I've invested. However, I understand that can also be very dangerous. So as an example, if all of my money was put into high yield, i.e. higher risk investments, like crypto as an example, which is very volatile, then, I'm not really protected by the downside. So without being so diversified that I don't even understand what's happening, I'm looking at, for me personally, what do I feel comfortable investing in? Again, also my age, I'm 42 at the moment, I'm not 82, so I don't really need this money. So for me, all of my crypto investments, I don't even care if crypto goes down to $1. When I say crypto, I mean like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. I could care less what's happening in the market because I'm not selling it. So I haven't lost anything, even though on paper I have at this current time. But I don't care because my whole idea, and the thing I want to get across to you here, is the third step is think long term. Fidelity actually did a really interesting study. They looked at investors between 2003 and 2013, and they found that the investors who had the highest returns were dead or inactive. Inactive, many of them like losing their passwords to their trading accounts so they couldn't even get in and do stuff. What does that tell us? It tells us that if you do not day trade in general, you'll do better. So basically it's like the George Foreman principle. Set it and forget it. Now, I'm not saying you should completely turn a blind eye to your investments. You should definitely look at your stuff on a regular basis. But what you don't want to do, and again, I'm just sharing this from my perspective, is tinkering every single day, right? Tinkering with this, tinkering with that. Oh my God, it's down, I gotta sell. Listen, like the best piece of advice I can give you, and by no means am I Warren Buffett, but I've generated tens of millions of dollars, so I can speak a little bit to this. When everyone's freaking out, chill out. When everyone's like, oh my God, the market's crashing, this is the worst time, I'm gonna sell everything, just put a smile on your face, right? Just hold on to it. Just let it go. Only invest in things. Do not buy anything that you wouldn't want to own 10 years in the future. So when I'm buying Bitcoin, I don't care if it drops to 40 bucks, if I bought it at 60,000, because my goal, my thesis with Bitcoin and crypto in general is that the rate of adoption over the next 5 to 10 years is gonna be explosive. And if I just hold on to it long enough, very much like real estate, I will win. You will win. I'm not saying go buy Bitcoin. I'm not saying go buy crypto. I'm saying understand what it is you're investing in. Don't buy things that you wouldn't hold for 10 plus years, and just avoid tinkering on a daily basis. Like, you don't have to become a day trader. If you want to play Forex and options and stuff, like, listen, like, I have no idea how to do that stuff. If you do, all the power to you. But again, that's a different ballgame. My thinking is that you're a busy entrepreneur. You want to manage your wealth. You want to improve your cash flow. You want to make your money work harder for you, but you don't want to spend all day in front of the computer buying and trading every single minute as things go up and down. So don't do that. But think long term, understand what you want to invest in, really learn about that so you can understand the fundamentals. Like, and I'm just using crypto as one example, but I have other investments in index funds, real estate, etc. But the thing with me with crypto was I didn't understand anything. So had I invested in Bitcoin as an example, without understanding anything, and then the market just fell through the floor, I would have been like, this is a scam. I shouldn't have invested. I'm gonna pull my money out and take a loss. But because I understand the fundamentals of how crypto operates and the fundamentals of why it's gonna work, what are the dangers, what are the opportunities, because I fundamentally at a first principle level understand that stuff, I can chill. But if you don't understand what's happening, it's very easy to panic and go nuts. So it's very much like with your health. Like my mom, she has a fear of sweating and racing heart rates. And that's because she's had some heart, issues and scares over the last couple decades. And her interpretation of rapid heart rates is, oh my God, I'm gonna have a heart attack. My interpretation of a rapid heart rate is, yes, I'm pushing my body and I'm getting fitter. And knowing the difference makes all the difference. So if I'm working out or if I'm on a bike ride or for a run and I'm sweating and my heart rate's 160, whatever it is, I'm like, this is amazing. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting fitter. Well done. I feel great. Someone like my mom is like, oh my God, take me to the hospital. And that's because she's made the wrong association because she doesn't understand what's happening inside of her body. Very much like with people who don't understand the fundamentals of their investments, freak out when things don't work out. But remember, if you hold anything long enough, it will go up for the most part. If it's a sound investment and the fundamentals are good, it will go up. Real estate is another example. Yeah, during COVID, real estate went through the roof. Then all the governments overprinted, now we're in inflation, interest rates high, everything's dropped down. So if you've got cash on hand, great time to buy real estate, right? Everyone's looking to sell. They're not able to, they're decreasing prices. But as a smart investor, you realize if you own a piece of land or a piece of a property, what's the likelihood that's gonna go down in price 10, 15, 20 years from now, right? In general, we know that over time, things increase in value, right? And just like if you bought a property 100 years ago, it would be way more valuable now than 100 years ago. So again, long-term thinking, hold on to it, don't even worry about it. So anyway, so those are the three skills, the three money management skills that I think are massively important for helping you make more money, keep more money, and build your wealth. These are three things that wealthy individuals do that most people who are trading time for money, working in a dead-end broke job, or simply poor don't even understand. And you can make the choice. Remember, as I said before, wealth is learned, it is not earned. You can learn this stuff, and as a result, you can earn this stuff and more. So quick recap, skill number one is learn how to make more money, i.e. learn how to sell stuff that helps people. Number two, learn how to manage and keep more of your money, become your own money manager. Skill number three, employ your money so it works 24/7 on your behalf. And this is how you create passive income, whether it's through investments like crypto or real estate or index funds or other, whatever else. That money is now working independent of your efforts. Think long-term, invest in things you understand, and at the end of the day, you'll be a lot better off. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, great. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. Before you go anywhere, you're going to want to check out the next video I've got lined up for you right now. It's called How to Manifest Money Even When You're Broke. So if you want to learn how you can start attracting more money into your life from an energetic perspective, which is like a very big piece of the pie, be sure to watch the video wherever it is, left or right over here. Click on that, watch it now. I think you'll really, really enjoy that one as well. Thank you again for watching. I'm Yuri. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.